Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Monday, 12th February 2024, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. U.S. actress Phylicia Rashad takes a piece of Trinidad and Tobago with her. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's a service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. American actress Phylicia Rashad says her visit to Trinidad has opened her eyes. Just before her departure from Trinidad and Tobago on Saturday, she vowed to take a piece of Trinidad and Tobago with her. TTT's Ayana Carter has more.
I'm taking Trinidad with me, okay? So it may look like I'm leaving. And in a sense I am. But I'm taking you with me.
U.S. actress Phylicia Rashad, best known for her role as Claire Huxtable on The Cosby Show, heaped praises on the friendliness and vibrance of the island's people and the experiences that shaped our history, including slavery and the sugar industry, women's suffrage, and carnival. A conversation with soca artist Marshall Montano on the origins of carnival and its evolution changed her perspective.
And he is telling me about the break he has taken from his career to study in university. And what is he studying? Carnival. And he tells me the origin is in Egypt. Who would imagine that? And he talks about how this spread from one part of the earth to the other, but the uniqueness of what happens here in Trinidad. Carnival here, yes, it's celebratory. To learn that it was also a form of resistance. Resilience, rebirth, and resistance. Where people own themselves and claim their heritage and make fun of that which thought to oppress them. Very clever, I think. You're always celebrating life. Life is a whole celebration for Trinidadian people. We see it reflected in your preparation for Carnival. Yes, there's something inside Trinidadian people. Life is a celebration.
The Hollywood icon accepted the invitation to visit Trinidad and Tobago as a guest of former principal of Howard University, Dr. Wayne Frederick, and his wife, Mrs. Simone Frederick. Over the past few days, Tourism Trinidad facilitated a short cultural tour to Chaguaramas, where Miss Rashad visited the U-Pick Farm, the golf course, and Bamboo Cathedral. She also visited the Phase 2 Pangrove Panyard and tasted corn soup. Winding down the tour was a visit to the Caroni Bird Sanctuary and a taste of Calypso and Old Mass from the students of St. Francois Girls College and Queen's Royal College. Ayana Carter, TTT News.
Former chairman of the Police Service Commission, Professor Ramesh Diosaran, who was in charge of the Police Manpower Audit Report, gives his perspective on crime and the recommendation for a police inspectorate. Nicole M. Romani of TV6 News reports.
According to Professor Diosaran, the Commissioner of Police has a lot of responsibility, which includes the management of the physical and human resources of the TTPS. He believes a support system is necessary for the job to be executed efficiently. As such, he says, the Police Inspectorate, recommended by the Police Manpower Audit Committee in 2017, can be of great assistance.
That Police Inspectorate, it's an institution, it's not one person. It's not a police inspector. It's a police inspectorate. It's like a unit that will go out with the equipment, with the mandate, all over the country, Trinidad and Tobago, to make sure what a police station is supposed to do, what those police officers in the field are supposed to do, are done properly, and make the reports regularly to the commissioner. Now, that to me is a very useful strategy because she now will have the equipment to speak and to act accordingly. So briefly, that is it.
He notes that the Joint Select Committees of Parliament have been very robust in their inquiries, noting that the Police Inspectorate will also have to appear before the Joint Select Committee. However, he says, after these sittings where people come to Parliament and account, there are no consequences and no one is dealt with. Professor Diosran says this has to change.
We hold people responsible, and where there is bad performance, we sort of leave it there. And we come back in a cycle to say the same thing. So I think on that beat, we have to reform the Joint Select Committee, which will be part of the constitutional reform exercise we're entering into, to make them stronger and give them possibly subpoena powers to order people to come when they refuse to come, and also apply some sanctions after due process for their malperformance.
Professor Diosran, a criminologist, is calling on both the government and the opposition to get serious and discuss the details of implementation of the Police Inspectorate.
Let the bus start moving now, because the longer we take, time is not on our side. Time is on the side right of the criminals. They are becoming more organized. They are becoming more like business groups. They have a structure, you know. If you look at the home invasions, it's a pattern. It isn't isolated, scattered people doing here and then another one there. It is an organized system, in my view.
With respect to the police commissioner and her failure to meet targets set in the fight against crime, the criminologist says the top cop should be given a chance, but he believes she may have been too optimistic. He notes the police commissioner's promise to reduce the murder rate by the end of the year when she took office.
Given the police service that she is in charge of, she should well know that to put a 30% increase in performance on a particular crime, murder or robbery and so on, is a bit too overdone. I think she should be a little bit more modest, but she explained that she put the targets there to inspire the police officers to work harder. Have they worked harder? Look at the detection rate.
Nicole M. Romani, TV6 News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick, in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
A former politician is making a case for a return to family values, claiming that this could be one of the keys to solving a host of social problems from poverty to crime. Another is for the government to tackle corruption and white-collar crime at the highest levels. More in this DBS News World report.
Former government minister and former MP for Viewfort South, Peter Josie, made an appearance on Newsmaker Live to launch his new book, Keeping Hope Alive. During the show, Josie expressed concerns about the current crime situation and its potential impact on the local economy. The former government minister believes that a return to traditional family and Christian values will go a long way in fixing the country's crime problem.
All of us, and I mean all of us, not only those who work in the tourist industry, but all of us, taxi drivers, ordinary citizens, vendors on the roadside, will suffer economically. So I'm very, very concerned about this. And I tell you, I think about it every day. The way I look at crime is to draw at least 3 circles around the idea of crime or the crime situation. One is a home. You put a home inside the first circle.
Peter Josie examined the role of elected politicians and failed leadership in creating and perpetuating the situation. According to him, politicians are setting a bad example for the country's youth. He also believes that parents have a critical role to play in preventing their children's criminality, and that the disintegration of the family and the lack of family order and balance can directly be linked to the erosion of the rule of law and order.
As you know and as I know, children always follow what they hear or what they see. A lot of times the parents are giving them good example, but they'll see a child do some nonsense outside or even at school sometimes. That is what they take to their home. And that is a negative. And not only that, there is the exchange of drugs for money, the sale of drugs, and some of these people now who are involved in that criminal activity are influencing the children.
Mr. Josie believes that before any real dent can be made in addressing street crime, the government needs to tackle corruption and white-collar crime at the highest levels. He urges politicians and other leaders to adhere to the highest moral standards and to keep themselves above reproach.
You see crime in St. Lucia? The day we begin to arrest the top criminals in the top positions, top echelons of the society, like ministers of government, and put them in prison, that is the day we begin to change the society.
Why do you...
The ministers, I believe, have such a wide following in the society. I think nearly every politician, when you campaign, you go to people's homes, you're on the public radio, you're on the public television, you almost everywhere.
Peter Josie not only advocates for the imprisonment of ministers and other government officials, but businessmen found guilty of illegal practices. For the DBS News World, I am Manasseh Stanislas reporting.
In the latest CVM Blue Dot poll, findings reveal a growing sense of pessimism among Jamaicans on the country's outlook and direction. Of the just over 1,878 individuals surveyed, 44% expressed concerns that Jamaica is headed in the wrong direction, while optimism remained stagnant at 28%. Nika Lewis of CVM Live reports.
Pressure is mounting for the governing Jamaica Labour Party as public sentiment suggests the nation is heading in the wrong direction. The CVM TV Blue Dot polls on national public sentiment were conducted from January 19 to February 6 this year. Of 1,878 people sampled on public perception and outlook, some 44% say the country is heading in the wrong direction. With a margin of error of 2.25%, it marks a slight increase over the findings in September 2023, where 41% agreed, but still lower than the 47% in February 2023. Only 28% of the sample felt optimistic about the country's outlook. That was slightly more than the 21% who said so last year, September. Optimism fell during the pandemic and is yet to return to 2021 levels, at which time it was 34% who were hopeful versus 26% who were not. Partisanship appeared to be a key influencer in the population's outlook, as JLP supporters were far more optimistic than their opposition counterparts from the PNP. The number of JLP supporters who believe the country is on the right track went up by 2 percentage points from 58% in September last year to 60% this month. PNP supporters who agreed the country was heading in the right direction remained the same at 10%, but 4% of those without party allegiance lost hope over the period. Crime ranked number 1 among factors driving this negative perception, followed by cost of living, unemployment, corruption, and in 5th place, the healthcare system. The top 5 concerns were followed closely by education, the economy, and governance, issues all tied at 5%. Not only is crime consistently perceived as the biggest problem, but the intensity of that perception increased in the latest polls from 18% in September 2023 to 29% in February 2024. Interestingly, 9 in 10 Jamaicans are concerned about cost of living, while 6 in 10 are extremely concerned. Jamaicans rate their standard of living an average 5.74 out of 10, marginally higher than 6 months ago. Some 59% of PNP supporters showed extreme concern, as opposed to 44% of JLP supporters. Jamaicans who felt most optimistic about the path the country is on featured in St. Catherine and St. Elizabeth with 33% and Hanover with 34%. However, those who felt it was heading in the wrong direction scored much higher in nearly every parish. The pessimism in St. Catherine stood at 38%, for example, but wasn't among the parish with highest discontent. Those with high pessimism included Clarendon with 53%, Trelawney led in the north and south by JLP MPs at 55%, and St. Mary, where 60% say the country is heading in the wrong direction when compared to a mere 24%.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.